So Pat Moberg's supposed to be up here too, because she's one of the financial experts.
She'll be back. She's counting the offering.
All right. So do we have any questions that we can answer regarding what we do with the building or all of that? It's, as I said, it's a kind of an ongoing thing. We're, happy to have the building available to groups that want to use it.
If you think back on all the things that Stewardship just mentioned, are there any things that you were like, really, you do that? Or other things that you've always wondered about or anything? Now's your chance.
Yeah, I was just reminded of the email that Pat sent out about getting pledges in. How are we doing on meeting our expenses?
On the financial?
Yeah, so
I would have, she would answer that one.
We'll have Pat answer that when she gets in here.
Right.
With regard to, what I can say in summary is that compared to where we usually are at this time of year with regard to pledges, we're behind from where we usually are. Now, each year is a little bit different. Sometimes people pay do a disproportionate amount of their pledge at the beginning of the year. Sometimes it's at the end of the year. So it's not necessarily an indicator of where we'll end up, but as Pat shared, it was a note of caution that of where we currently are. Pat, we just had a question about where we are financially with regard to pledges.
Well, I don't have the June results quite yet, but where we are in pledges as of last, as I said in my note in the bulletin, we are behind. So that's why I made that note for the bulletin to please, if you are behind in your pledges, please catch up. Unless Betty has more.
Right, and then also if we're not able to or whatever, you can always share information with Betty that she will confidential with regard to your name, but that does help session to understand what's happening with pledge.
I will email the session and actually Pat, the treasurer, and she can take it on to session and to stewardship as to how it's going to affect the budget. But I will not give out any names, and I will not give out any amounts for anything else, names or amounts. So if anybody wants to totals on what they're giving, they go to Vanessa and get the totals on actually on what you're giving, you go to me. If you want the total on, say, the pantry and what's been given, then you go to Vanessa, because she'll have the totals. She has those totals. But I have the totals on what you give, and I have all the information on what you give, and Vanessa doesn't have it. And also, please check I forgot to say, check your statements, because I'm human and I make mistakes occasionally. And so let me know if there's anything. There's an email at the bottom of your statement which has my email on it. I can pick that up at home. And so let me know if there's anything that is not right on your statement.
Thank you, Betty. Any other questions?
It was cool to hear about all of those other groups that come in here. And so I started thinking, I didn't know that. And also, I don't know where all these places are. I've never been down in the basement or whatever. I think only upstairs one time. So I want to check it all out. But do we ever, this is the word I would use, but it's probably not right for the church, but market our space to other institutions or organizations?
Well,
it's
that's
so cool here. I mean, there's such great meeting spots.
It is. It's a good question. And actually, it's difficult, I think, for groups to sometimes find a venue this size or upper room or, what's available. I kind of think it's a function of how many people are involved in making that happen. In other words, we can't just unlock the doors and turn them loose. we have to have one of us here to get them in, get them set up and all that, and then make sure we lock up when they're all done. And, you know, it's a bit of a job. So we try and move the responsibility around a little bit. So it could be done, and, you know, we've thought about it a little bit, but right now it's mainly done on when people do contact us, and we'll evaluate those requests, and happy to make that happen. And actually, it's picked up quite a bit since, yeah, it is. So, in fact, we've had a venture scout group recently contact us, and we showed them this space, or I'm sorry, the upper room and downstairs. They're thinking about meeting here twice a month. So, you know, it's, as I say, you never know who's going to come through, but it's kind of a function of, can we make sure we're covering our responsibilities?
To summarize in a little bit more pointed way for people who aren't on stewardship, this question about should we market our space came up in advance of the last meeting. And I know what I said and seemed to get affirmed was that with our current involvement with people who we know, members who we know are willing to come and host the space when groups are here. So opening the space, orienting people to the space, making sure it gets closed up correctly. With our current involvement, it doesn't make sense to be marketing the space. We seem to barely be able to keep up with the requests that are coming our way without marketing it with the current volunteers that we have to do that hosting. So if you think that our space should be open to the public more, certainly let stewardship know if you would be willing to help with that kind of hosting.
Always looking for volunteers. Do you have another?
Something that Tom forgot to say earlier was that a couple projects that we do during the year is we work in the gardens around.
Oh, yes,
church.
yes.
And
Work parties.
Yeah, work parties, but I consider them fun parties.
Okay.
So I consider that, I mean, we ask for volunteers from the rest of the church too, but it's really fun because we usually work with each other, digging around in the mud and stuff.
I forgot to say that if any of you are giving through other than directly to me, or giving through like stocks or through your IRA or whatever, let me know so that I know when I get the check who it belongs to.
Easier to put it together if you see it coming. Great. Well, if we don't have any other questions, Stewardship has put together a very nice coffee hour for us today, so I hope that you will come up and...
This is a new experience for us to do a coffee hour, so. Anyway, come join us.
Thank you.